like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, we got some spoilers about the upcoming episodes of Boruto, specifically episode 187, 188, and 189. Episode 187, the title is going to be Karma. Now into the actual paragraph, it says, as soon as Boruto and his teammates concluded their battle against Ao, Kashin Koji, a member of the Kata, appeared in front of them. Boruto and the others have their movements restricted by Koji's Fuin Jutsu. In order to succeed in executing his mission, Koji attempts to eliminate all of them. However, Sarutobi Konohamaru manages to dispel the Jutsu and delves straight into a one-on-one battle against him. Despite unleashing a Rasengan as his trump card, Konohamaru's Jutsu gets cancelled out by another Rasengan. For some reason, Koji is also able to use a Rasengan against him. Konohamaru is bewildered because only a limited number of people should be able to use it in combat. Due to Koji's onslaught, Konohamaru has gotten himself driven into a corner and forced into a desperate situation. As Boruto witnesses this crisis unfolding, a strange phenomenon suddenly transpires with the seal that's on the palm of his hands. Alright guys, so this episode right here is going to have a bunch of things. First things first, I do want to cover this. The first thing that these spoilers did actually say is the fact that Boruto and his teammates concluded their battle against Ao. Now that right there basically makes it seem that they actually did beat Ao. Now we don't necessarily know exactly what the casualties are going to be. I really hope, of course, I'm pretty sure you guys hope as well, there are not going to be any casualties. If there is any casualties, let it just be the scientist Katasuke or potentially even the dog or something like that, because of course you understand that the rest of the characters are going to be very important. But regardless, the two characters that we do know right now from these spoilers that are actually confirmed to be alive is of course Boruto and Konohamaru. Sada and Mitsuki, as of right now, we have absolutely no idea, but we hope that they're going to be good. But regardless, this right here also talks about how Konohamaru is going to be in a 1v1 battle with Kashin Koji. Now of course the biggest and the most glaring part about these spoilers is the fact that Kashin Koji also knows the Rasengan. Now around this particular point, a lot of people were kind of thinking that Kashin Koji had something to do with Jiraiya himself, and it really just wasn't only because of the Rasengan. If you guys do recall, Jiraiya had these marks under his eyes, and of course that's a similar thing that's happening with Kashin Koji as well. They have the same color hair and everything like that. And now this right here just pushed it over the top. So of course Kashin Koji's true identity is going to be very important. Now another big thing about these spoilers is the fact that Sarutobi Konohamaru did actually step up a little bit. The spoilers basically said that Kashin Koji trapped Boruto and his teammates, but Konohamaru was actually able to escape. Now of course I've seen the Boruto manga, so I know specifically what happened, but regardless, because he actually escaped, now he's actually forced into a 1v1 because of course the rest of his teammates are still stuck into that barrier. I've been very critical of Konohamaru. I've been saying that he hasn't necessarily lived up to the character that we all thought that he would actually live up to, but in this episode right here, I'm gonna have to give him a bit of a pass. We understand the members of the Kata organization, especially the insiders of the Kata organization, they are supposed to be extremely strong. So in no way am I ever going to expect for Konohamaru to actually beat a character like Kashin Koji. In fact, I feel like if Konohamaru would actually beat Kashin Koji in this battle right here, I think it would be extremely disappointing, not only just for the character of Kashin Koji, but the overall group of the Kata organization. So I have no qualms or disappointments with Konohamaru in this battle right here. The one thing that we should be looking forward to though is how Kashin Koji actually fights. We understand that he already has the Rasengan. Is Kashin Koji going to fight almost exactly like Jiraiya? And how quick does Kashin Koji handle Konohamaru? We understand that Konohamaru is just a regular Joe. He's not anything super special. So of course we understand that Koji is going to be Konohamaru, but how quick is it going to be? How dominant is it going to be? That right there is going to be super interesting. But the next episode is going to be episode 188. The title is going to be Awakening. Now into this paragraph it says, something has happened to Boruto's body. Kashin Koji, who has temporarily retreated, seems to have an interest in the strange phenomenon that had just occurred to Boruto as well. But at any rate, Boruto and his teammates were able to overcome their adverse situation. While they were in the midst of retreating to the village, Boruto and the others happened to encounter an unconscious, mysterious boy named Kawaki. Since the collapsed boy also seems to have the same peculiar seal on his palm that Boruto does, they become curious about Kawaki and are interested in learning more about his background. But when Kawaki awakens, he becomes openly hostile towards Boruto and his teammates. The circumstances then evolve into a sensitive touch and go situation. At the spur of the moment, and despite being flustered with what was transpiring, Boruto shows off the seal that's on the palm of his hand. Kawaki then replies that the seal is called Karma. Alright, now this episode right here is going to be the episode that everybody has been waiting for a very long time. Not just the Boruto fan base out there, but also the Boruto writers and the Boruto creative team, because of course they've been showing off Kawaki for a very long time, and this right here seems to be the actual episode that we do get to see Kawaki. Now before we get into that, I do want to talk about the start of the spoilers. Now I did say that Kashin Koji, who temporarily retreated, seems to have an interest with the strange phenomena that occurs with Boruto as well. Now we understand that the strange phenomenon is going to be Boruto actually activating the Karma seal. This right here has been literally years in the making. We've literally seen the Karma Seal happen in the first episode of the Boruto anime. So of course this right here is going to be a very, very big thing, but also Kashin Koji's reaction is going to be super interesting as well. One of the things that we did find out from the Mujino gang's boss is the fact that the Kado organization, they are actually fond of the Karma Seal and they know much about it. If you guys do recall, Boruto had a pseudo awakening of his Karma Seal, and it didn't necessarily span all the way throughout his body, but it just spanned throughout his arm. Now once the Mujino boss actually seen that, he thought that Boruto had some sort of connection to the Kado organization. Now specifically because Kashin Koji is actually in the Kado organization, we understand that Kashin Koji is most likely going to understand and possibly even know what the Karma Seal is. So of course it's going to be a very interesting time to see exactly how Kashin Koji actually responds to this. Now of course it says that Kashin Koji did retreat. That right there is very confusing, man, because it seemed like Kashin Koji had everything in the bag, and of course his goal was to actually kill everybody that was there, but I'm guessing the appearance of the Karma Seal kind of changed his plan a little bit. Now them stumbling upon Kawaki is probably what's going to make this episode one of the greatest episodes of Boruto thus far. In the Boruto manga, I felt exactly how the Boruto writers wanted me to feel. And of course it was this very unknown boy, and of course when he woke up he was extremely violent, he was extremely aggressive, and he didn't know what was going on. And I'm pretty sure in this episode they're probably going to try to get that message across as well. In this episode right here, it's going to be very interesting how they handle it. Now, as I said, when Kawaki woke up, he was extremely aggressive, he was extremely mad, he was pissed off. Kawaki is also a character that curses a lot, so I'm super interested to see exactly how they handle it and see if Kawaki is actually going to be cursing in the episode. Now, just my opinion off the rip, I strongly doubt that he's going to be actually cursing anytime soon in the Boruto anime, just because of all the rules that they do have to follow. Now it does say that Boruto actually showed Kawaki the Karma Seal. I don't necessarily think it's going to have the effect that Boruto and everybody else thinks that it's probably going to have, just because of the sheer fact that because Kawaki actually did flee the blimp, it doesn't necessarily make sense for Boruto to actually show him the Karma Seal, man, because it seems like Kawaki's probably going to think that Boruto has some sort of ties with the Kado organization, because of course, as we heard from the Mujino gang, if you have that Karma Seal, you most likely have some sort of ties with the Kado organization. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what's going on in this particular situation. Now the next episode is going to be episode 189. The title is going to be Resonance. Now into the actual paragraph, it says Kawaki is referred to as the vessel by someone named Garo, an outer member of the Kado, who is being tasked with attempting to bring Kawaki back home with him. And so Kawaki and Garo begin to battle one another. Garo's entire body has been modified and equipped with various scientific ninja tools for combat. Kawaki fights him by manipulating his own arm into various shapes and sizes, which is a capability that he acquired a solid mastery over. Boruto and the others are completely dumbfounded as they stare at the battle that is unfolding in front of them. As the intense battle continued on, Kawaki started to become exhausted and eventually got overwhelmed. In the end, Garo was able to capture him, but at that moment something happens to Kawaki's body. In addition, a strange phenomenon transpires within Boruto's body once again. It's as if Kawaki seems to be in resonance with Boruto. Alright, now this episode right here is probably going to be the most entertaining episode of the spoilers that I did read off to you, just because of the sheer fact that we do actually get to see Kawaki in action. Now the Boruto writers are not necessarily wasting any time at all, actually giving us some meaningful screen time with Kawaki. Now we get to actually see exactly how strong this little kid is. It's going to be very interesting because of course he's going to be compared to Boruto a lot. We've seen him in episode 1 fighting against Boruto, so as of right now, is he going to be as strong as Boruto, or is he going to be potentially even stronger than Boruto? That's going to be something very interesting that we do have to figure out. Now it seems like he's going to be fighting an outer member of the Kado organization called Garo. We've seen this in the Boruto manga, and of course this is how Garo is going to look. Garo also seems to be super similar to Ao, just because of the sheer fact that it says that a lot of his body is going to be modified by scientific ninja tools, and is going to be utilizing a lot of scientific ninja tools. Now as manga readers, we still don't necessarily know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure that it seems that Garo is supposed to be stronger than Ao, just because of the sheer fact that they are both implanted with the same scientific technology. But the reason why I think that Garo is stronger than Ao is because of the fact that Garo has seen combat. Ao, in comparison, has been retired for 16 years. Now, don't get me wrong, before this whole thing, Ao was still a very elite ninja, but 16 years of inactivity, especially when now he has a brand new type of skill set, when he can't necessarily rely on the ninjutsu that he did rely on back when he was an actual ninja. I think that right there just gives Garo an upper hand. And for Kawaki to now try to solo this character named Garo, it's going to be a very difficult task. And from what we see in the spoilers, at first it didn't really go well for Kawaki. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get to see a lot of the abilities from Kawaki, man, because he's going to be trying to pull out all of the stops to to beat a character like Garo. But I do want you guys to think about these spoilers in the comment section below, and give me the episode that you guys are going to be most excited for. Me personally, it was a super difficult decision just because of the sheer fact that Kashin Koji, as of right now, and even the Boruto manga as I'm caught up to right now, Kashin Koji is one of my favorite characters. But of course, episode 189 is going to be literally a historic episode of the Boruto series, just because of the sheer fact that it's going to be the first episode that we do see Kawaki in combat. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to go with episode 188. Most of you guys are probably gonna pick 189, but I'm super excited to see Kashin Koji, especially how the anime has portrayed him so far. It's just been super nice. But let me know what you guys think. It's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.